Welcome to Q&A practice. Let's get started with some warm-up. We'll do a little two-voice practice. And we will start with the defense attorney. Get our fingers moving. Ready? Here we go. In other words, the substance of that conversation at that time was that Mr. Weeks told Mr. Stanton that he needed money, and you said you didn't know how much it was, but they would have to find out from the accountant. Is that a fair summation? Yes, sir. All right. Did anybody say anything to you about putting any additional money in the dealership at that meeting? I don't think so. I think they were going to have a meeting the next day. Did you have any discussion during this meeting about what would happen if the money wasn't put in? Yes, sir, we did. And what was that discussion? That we were going to have Mr. Weeks surrender the store to us. Did Mr. Weeks say anything about what his understanding was? That if he didn't have the funds in there March 20, we would have him surrender the store. Did Mr. Weeks say anything at that particular meeting about whether or not he had had any discussions with any representative of the corporation? Not really, no, sir. All right, after this evening conversation on March 16, when is the next time you had a conversation with Mr. Stanton? I believe it was the next day. All right, approximately what time of the day, if you remember? 7 in the morning. All right, when was the next conversation that you had with Mr. Stanton after that? The next one was the following day at home in the evening. All right, what time in the morning was that? 6:15. I think that's about right, because I remember he woke me up. I had a small baby at the time. What did Mr. Stanton tell you at that time? I don't really remember the substance. You don't have any independent recollection, is that right? No, sir, I don't. All right, now let's try some four-voice practice. We'll start with the plaintiff. Ready? Do you remember just getting a little bit more specific, the subject matter, what the briefs addressed? I think they addressed invalidity, non-infringement, I'm not sure what else, and then the damages, obviously. There may have been some other things I can't remember off the top of my head. Okay, and you said you reviewed the spreadsheet, the Excel spreadsheet as well, and I take it you reviewed that in the context of your conversation with Susan West? Yes. What information did Ms. West convey to you regarding the spreadsheet? And you can just summarize. Just verify where the information came from and what the columns represented. Okay, and I noticed that you have a document in front of you. Is that correct? Yes. Did you put this document together? No. Who drafted the document for you to the best of your knowledge? Counsel. Okay, and what is the document? It's basically a summary of the questions from Exhibit 1 or the list of the topics. Okay, may I take a look at that document? Yeah, is that? I will look at that in more detail during the break, so I'm not wasting time here. I think you previously testified that you're an employee of Ryder North, U.S. Is that accurate? Yes. And I think you also previously testified that you're not an employee of Ryder North Limited or Ryder North China. Is that fair? That's correct. I put before you Deposition Exhibit 2, which is a confidential settlement agreement between Ryder North and Weston Cycle and Sam Ramos. Is that a fair general characterization of this document? Yes. And on the last page has a Bates number N26054. You signed as the Vice President on behalf of both Ryder North Limited and Ryder North US. Is that fair? That's correct. And I take it you have the authorization to sign this settlement agreement on behalf of Ryder North Limited. Is that fair? Yeah, I signed it on behalf of our CEO, Ray Weston. Now I take it that Ryder North China and Ryder North US are both wholly owned subsidiaries of Ryder North Limited? Yes. And is it fair to say that Ryder North Limited, Ryder North US, and Ryder North China are effectively treated as a single entity or organization? All three are operated individually. But Ryder North China and Ryder North US do not have a board of directors or boards of directors. Is that fair? That's correct. And Ryder North China, Ryder North US do not have CEOs. Is that correct? That's correct. Ray Weston, who is the CEO of Ryder North Limited, has the final say on all matters regarding Ryder North Limited, Ryder North China, Ryder North US. Is that fair? That's fair. Now I think you previously testified that Ryder North US is a US-based sales arm for the Ryder North family of companies. Is that fair? Yes. And is that accurate? That Ryder North US is the US sales and marketing, the US sales and marketing arm for Ryder North, for the Ryder North family of companies. Is that fair? Well, it's not really. I don't know if that's a fair depiction of it, but Ryder North US manages the US sales and marketing for Ryder North. Ryder North China manages the sales directly from China to the US, to Canada, to a variety of other countries as well. And Ryder North also does a majority of the manufacturing for the Ryder North family of companies. Is that fair? Yes. And is it fair to characterize Ryder North Limited as the general business entity for the Ryder North family of companies? Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you previously testified that Ryder North US and Ryder North China do not have officers. Is that fair? That's correct. Okay, Ryder North Limited is the only one that has officers. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, and the last time that we did this, I think you identified Ray Weston as the only officer of Ryder North Limited that you could remember at that time. Is that fair? Correct. Do you know of any other officers of Ryder North Limited? Whoever sits on the board of directors from our investment company. And who is your investor company? Lester Peterson. Do you want me to spell that? Lesterpeterson. Other than Ray Weston and unnamed individuals from Lester Peterson, are there any other members of the board of directors that you can think of today? Not that I can think of. Can you identify the senior executives for Ryder North China? Bob Kang. That's not his. He's got a Korean name. I'm not sure what the Korean name is, but Bob Kang is one. Stan Craig. Steve Craig. Craig. I'm sorry, can you? Kang. And how do you spell? I think you said Stan Craig was one of them. Yeah, Craig. Okay. Yeah, to me that's how I know him. Understood. Andy Kim, that's all I can think of right now. Do you know their titles? And I can just give you back the names and you can just give me titles to the extent you know them. Sure. Bob Kang. I believe he's Executive Vice President, Sales. Stan Craig, President, Operations. Bob Kang. Did you say? Kang, yeah, he's Vice President. I'm not sure over what area. On what kind of matters, if any, do you deal with him on? Bob Kang? Yeah, not many. Okay. Not many. He's mostly on the production. I think he deals with general admin, but I really don't have much interaction with him. Okay, how about Andy Kim? Again, I think he's a vice president planning, I believe. VP of planning, yeah. Do you have much interaction with Bob Kang? Not a lot, from time to time. What is the nature of your interaction with him? Does it have to do with sales related issues? Are you asking this on an individual basis or on a company basis? That's the problem with your instruction earlier, is you're asking the questions now that sound more like his individual knowledge, and I object to that question. I ask that you ask the questions appropriately so he knows what he's responding to. Go ahead and answer. Repeat it. Sorry about that. When you interact with Mr. Kang, what's the nature of your interactions? Mostly just in meetings. I really don't have a whole lot of direct interaction with him. And that will conclude our Q&A practice.